All right, good day, gents, and welcome to another episode of Fathersfyre. My name's Jody Sedrick, and every week we get together to explore the joys, the challenges, the triumphs, the sorrows, and yes, the fun of being a dad. And I'm telling you, my guest today is all about fun, all about hard work, all about entrepreneurship. So I'm super excited to get on with him. But before we do that, I want to remind you that I'm part of the Speak Fire family. Make sure to check out the rest of the crew. And also, you got to check out Julian Gibson and Boss Talk Nation. Every week, he's dropping live episodes on Facebook and YouTube, helping you become the boss that you're aspiring to be. So, welcome to my guest, Mr. Hiram Lopez, mi carnal, my homie, my friend, my guy that's always got something going. So, welcome to the podcast.
How's it going? Good. What's up,
It's
everybody?
going good, man. It's going good. So, man, it's been a lot of fun getting to know you over the last little bit. I mean, you are the proud father of 7,
Yes.
and I thought I had a lot of kids with 6. So, man, so let's talk about being a dad of 7 because if I remember, you actually got a couple of baby mamas. So you have the dynamic of having 7 kids, and did you say 5 baby mamas?
Yes.
Holy cow. All right. So let's talk about that dynamic because there are a lot of men that listen to the podcast that have had more than one baby mama, but I think you take the cake. So how are you managing the dynamic of having, so many kids, so many ladies, and that you have to manage, and how do you do it?
The secret is just keep it cool with them, keep the interest about the kids that, mutual agreement, 50-50. Kids are they're a blessing, and also, it's hard when you're not with them, but if you could have good communications, then you could, work something out, and it's all about getting along with each other. So
Yeah, that's a real big thing, right? Getting along with people, and it's interesting because as I look back on different men that I've talked to, one of somebody that's really close to me that he and his wife got a divorce about 3 years ago, and I remember about a year into it, he said he was having a conversation with his ex, and she made the comment, "Well, I thought when we got a divorce, I would just be done with you." Failing to realize that, once you have kids together, there's, baptism, school events,
yes.
graduations, weddings. I mean, you're never truly away from each other. So, it sounds like you figured out a way to navigate that water.
Yes, on my oldest, my daughter Isabel, her mom got married with some other guy, and they've been together for a good, I want to say maybe 14 years, and we get along. She's all like, I got, I thought when we broke up, that was it. And then now, you're best friends with my husband. I'm all like, hey, he's my mini me, he's exactly like me, just a smaller version. And, I've been blessed that he's been a good dad to my daughter. We get along. I'll detail his cars. He does my mechanic work, whatever I can do, something big. We're always helping each other out. And, just one thing about whether it was your ex-wife or your kid's mom is just, the new person, try to get along. You don't have to, be best friends. It's rare that, it happens like me and him, but it happens. And,
Yeah.
We're so cool that, we go out, she'll make dinner and she'll serve him and he'll give me his plate. I'm like, hey, no, this is your house. And he's like, hey, you're my guest. We're super tight. Alex, Bernal, that's my boy. He's always been motivating me to be a better person. And yeah, he's a great guy. And I'm glad that, he's been a great father to my dad, to my daughter too. And yeah,
Now
So,
that's cool. It just goes to show you that not all relationships, maybe at the beginning, there's a
mhm.
lot of friction, there's a lot of hurt feelings, but it doesn't mean that the relationship on a friendship and a personal level can't continue, especially with, the other guy. It seems kind of weird, but, like you said, it can happen, but it takes an open heart and being willing to grow together as a blended family, with the new daddy or the new mommy in some cases, right?
Yes, and then it does take a lot for somebody else to take a child that's not yours and to treat them like your own. It's you have to be a great man or woman, to be able to open your heart and be open minded also to taking this life, and your feelings to loving the person just like if they're your own. So
Yeah, I love that. One of the things that you said you and I were recently at the Southern Detailers Conference. So shout out
yeah.
to Daryl Lyons, who did a phenomenal job, and everybody that we got to see there. But you made it. You and I were just kind of hanging out, and you said that every time you had a kid, you gave up something so that
Yes.
you could become a better father. And
Yes.
that really impacted me. I'm like, man, what did I give up? What am I doing to try to be a better father? So let's talk about that because I think that is a really unique position. So, how did you come up with that and why?
So I had my daughter right when I had turned 17 years old. I was 2 months that I had turned 17. So when I was 16, I was getting ready to be a father. Um, I grew up on the in the ghetto or the hood. So I used to, hang out with the guys in the streets and drink and, smoke marijuana. But when when I found out that my kid's mom was pregnant, I hoped that I would get a girl. I wished and I prayed and I'm like, oh, I need a girl. I need a girl. I knew if I had a boy, he would be, bald and, you know, just, you know, I needed a girl. I needed a girl, and when she was born, it just wow. If there's a if people ask what is your destiny, what is your purpose in life, there is nothing like being a father. Nothing, not going at 185 miles per hour. I have my AMG. I've done 185 on the freeway. The adrenaline is amazing. Can't compare to that. I have the Raptor to go off roading. Just nothing compares to when I saw my daughter, and I was like, wow. I felt like the Grinch, and my heart opened up, and yeah. And I was like, okay, I can't be doing stupid stuff, being out in the street. So, you know, uh, I stopped smoking weed. I was still drink, but then when I found out that I separated, but I got my second kid's mom, and she was gonna have a boy, I was super excited, and I was still not the man that I wanted to be. I'm still not the man that I want to be because you always improve and you're growing as time goes by. But when I found out my son was going to be born, I named him Hiram Lopez Jr. So HTL Detailing, that's it's my name, and he's a junior. So I gave up drinking. I haven't drank in almost 17 years. Not a one sip, not a wine, no nothing. Um, so yeah, and so forth. As I had my third, my fourth, my fifth, my sixth, my seventh. I've been wanting to be a better person. Strive to be perfect. I know that the word perfect, you can never reach to be perfect, but if you have that expectation or that goal, and you get close to it, that's all you could have. That's all you could do. To be there. What are you doing to be better than yesterday? Make sure you don't make the same mistakes, and for a while, It took a couple months, but I went through some problems, and I couldn't see my two daughters. I couldn't see them, I couldn't talk to them, nothing. And if it wasn't to have money saved up to get a lawyer and that, it would have taken longer. But I was in a bad place, not being able to see my kids. I seen them every day since they were born, and uh, it was very bad. And luckily everything got settled up, but that was the worst feeling, and not being able to talk to your kids, or know if they're okay. Um, yeah. And luckily everything turned out great. But yes, damn,
Well,
memories.
I love that it touches your heart, right? Because I think a lot of men, we try to just, show a strong face. We try to, strengthen, solidify our shoulders and go, you know what, we got this. But I think a lot of people don't realize, especially women, I think sometimes underestimate the true feelings that a dad has for their children,
Hmm.
right? It's, they look at how they care for their children, and they look how we care for our children, and it's just different, right? And
Yes.
that doesn't mean that it's less, it just means that it's different. And I know a lot of men, especially when they're going through difficult breakups, and all of a sudden, you're used to coming home to your kids every day, and all of a sudden you have an empty room, or you have an empty seat at the table, and you're like, man, there's something missing in my heart, most importantly.
Yeah.
And to dig in and fight and go, you know what, I want to show you, my ex, and my kids, that I'm still here for you, I still love you, and I'm going to do everything to be in your life. And I can't even imagine what it would be like to be without my kids. I mean, they've grown and they're all flying now, and it's weird because I've been blessed where Judy and I've been together 32 years married, but we've been together 35. And it's weird because my youngest daughter just went back to school. Well, when she's home, she always wants to go out on the boat. And so now, there's many nights now during a week where, since she's been gone, I'm like, I don't have a boat buddy. Because Ashton's been working all day. He got up at 3, and he wants to go to bed by 7. And half the time, Cinch is working, and all
On
my
my
other
way.
kids have moved out. And so I'm like, I got this beautiful boat. The lake's perfect, and I don't have anybody to go with.
I'm on
So
my way.
so come on over. I need a wake surfing buddy, man. But it's interesting because I always tell my kids, I'm like, look, I I have not raised you to nest. I've raised you to soar and to fly. I want you. I've done everything I can to empower you, to give you the foundation where you can go and accomplish any one of your dreams. So go show me what you can do, because I'm sure you can do far more than I've ever imagined. But it's still, you sit back, and sometimes, I look at the tables, and it's like tonight's dinner, Judy and I, it was just me and her sitting down together. I mean, we had a beautiful conversation. And it was funny because this morning when we had breakfast, usually we always have Sunday brunch, and actually Cynthia actually joined us for Sunday brunch, and I'm sitting there, and it's the three of us interacting and teasing and laughing, and I commented to her, I was like, "Wow, it's been a long time since we had breakfast. This is great."
Yeah.
So being able to have your kids, especially when you had a gap where you weren't able to see them, that must have been a sweet, sweet reunion.
It was every if you don't learn a lesson out of experiences in your life, then you're not learning at all. And every week for one day, I was only able to see him for 3 hours, but it took my mom 15-20 minutes to go get him. Uh, And then by the time she, had to get ready to go, so I only had 2 hours a week. And it was crazy because the day before I couldn't sleep, and while I was with them, the 2 hours, it was all quality time. Every single 120 seconds, a minute, it was quality time. I was not on my phone. I wasn't nothing, and it helped me to be a better parent. You know, I switch off with some of my kids, but when I have them, you know, like I tell people, hey, I'm a father first, not a detailer. My detailing comes second, and if I'm not right, my house is not okay, I can't detail at the perfection that I have to be at. I'm not 100% focused, and it taught me so much, and everything happens for a reason, and that was another stepping stone that I was able to cherish quality time. It could be with your kids for 10, 20 hours, but how much is that quality? How much are you on your phone? How much are you, nodding and thinking about something else? How much, are you actually, you know, asking, hey, how was your day? Hey, what's your favorite color? Hey, you know, if you can't answer those questions, it doesn't matter if you're buying them whatever they need. It's funny, when I got them back, I spent a lot of money on passes to go SeaWorld, Zoo, the Plunge at Belmont Park, and Play City and everything, and we're spending money, but I'm like, where do you want to go? The park. Guess what? The park is free. Sometimes things that don't cost nothing are some of the best memories, the best everything. And we learned to cut down on our budget, and we have passes to Sky Zone right now, but we have the cheapest ones for 1 hour, and then we'll go find something else to do, and we go to a park, have a picnic and stuff, but it's all about quality time. I learned that it's not about how much you spend money wise, it's how much time you spend with them, and it gets harder as you have more kids, because the older ones, you kind of start not giving them quality time. But me and my daughter, on Tuesdays at BJ's restaurant, they have $3 pazookies. So she's already 19, she's gonna be 20, and I call her, hey, guess what it is? Early in the morning, hey, good morning, hey, guess what it is? I don't know. $3 pazookie. So like, oh my gosh, wait, and I'm like, all right, we'll buy one and we'll share it, and it's little things where you have to learn how to rotate your time with every single one, and yes, it's cool to have family outings with everybody, but every single one needs their quality time also. So a lot of people forget that. But, then me and my son, we'll go do something that he likes to do. He likes to go play basketball. And he's like, hey, you old man, I'm gonna beat you. I'm like, cool. And I still beat him, and it's 1-on-1, and stuff like that. So just one of the things that I like to tell guys or anybody, quality time. Your family comes first, and then whatever your career is, and I lost, I used to work at the shipyards, and I worked 100-hour weeks for years, almost for 5 years, and I was making good money, and my kid's mom was always mad, and she's like, hey, like, we don't get to see you, and I'm like, we have money, like, everything's paid for, so like, yeah, but we don't see you. And that's when I started, understanding that, oh, it's not about the money, it's, we ended up splitting because of other stuff, but the not being able to see each other, sometimes I didn't come home. I slept in the parking lot, because my shift was about to start, so time management is key to anything, whether it's your wife, with your kids, your job, your business, uh everything. Time management and quality time, I think that's one of the keys.
Yeah, it's funny as I reflect back on my experience with my kids. It's we have done so much family time, and obviously everybody knows a lot of our family time is centered around being on the water, right? Either surfing or on the boat, or I mean, we that's just kind of our thing, right? But it's funny because as I think back, there's other fun things that just kind of stick in my head, like the time that we did painted twister. And
Yeah,
there's always, whenever we have uh, big parties, we always put the volleyball net up, and we'll have
yeah,
20 kids out on the volleyball net all playing together while some others are jumping on the trampoline. And to your point, you don't always need to be spending money to create memories. I mean, if you got some good food and some music going and
yeah,
some games to play, dude, it creates some amazing, not only memories, but opportunities to connect with your kids and with your family and their friends. It's really, really fun.
yes. I I've been trying to mimic as a child because my mom took us her my so my stepdad or my my sister's dad, he ended up taking us one day to Disneyland, and we had never gone. I've only gone once. I think I was 8 years old, and he's like, oh, they're gonna be like and all crazy. Moms are like, they're not like that. She's like, every kid's like that. So we went. I think mom said it was about 2ish, and we're telling her, okay, let's go home, let's go home. And then he's like, you guys want to go home? And then yeah, like, yeah, we want to go home. But I remember every time I heard, oh, we're going home, it was the best feeling. I
Mm.
couldn't wait to go home. You know, Eh, no matter where we're at, my mom always brings up that story, like, and I tell her, you were a great mother, a single mother, because you're able to give us that sanctuary, the home. I heard, oh, we're going home, and I was like the best feeling in the world. And when you're happy at home, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And that's up to this day, I'm trying to have that for my kids. When no matter where we're at, and I tell them, oh, we're going home. I want them to be excited to be home. It doesn't matter if you live in a 5-6 bedroom house or a 2 bedroom. There's love. As long as there's love and each other, and everybody has each other's back, that's all that matters. And so yeah, that's man. I still right now, I can still feel like, oh, going home. I'm doing this right now at my mom's. I'm here at my mom. You know, so
Yeah, that there is real power in what you said. Creating a home where when your kids hear we're going home, they're looking forward to it. They feel safe. They feel loved. They feel
yeah.
excited. You know what? I get to go see mom or I get to go see dad.
Mhm.
And my dad's passed away. It's been 5 years now. And once a week, he and I would just chat. We'd call on the phone and we'd have, 20, 30-minute talks just about things were going on in my life, in my heart, things going with him. And I tell you, man, I would love to have another 30 minutes,
Yeah,
because, when, just thinking about, talking to my dad or talking to my mom, I mean, it hits the heart, right? And it's
yeah,
because of the legacy that they built of always being, because we were a poor family. My dad was in the Navy, and things were tight. I mean, we still tease our mom about our sandwiches that she used to make. I mean, she'd get that Wonder White bread, that
oh yeah,
stuff that doesn't, it's not got much nutrition, and this super thin, I mean, almost see-through thin slice of ham, right? And we always tease her about it, but it's become one of those endearing family jokes, like, yeah, don't let mom make a sandwich for you.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it brings back sweet memories, right? And I think that's the big thing is, we as dads, whether we're single dads or we're juggling multiple baby mamas or a divorce or whatever, you know kids know kids know that dad's invested.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like on our last trip, when we were at Southern Detailers Conference, you and I were going somewhere. I think we were getting something to eat, and all of a sudden, your baby daughter, FaceTimed you and said, "Hey, Dad, this is where I'm at." And I mean,
Yeah.
you could see the love, you could see the excitement, and
Yeah.
you just broke away from me and said, "All right, I need to talk to my girl." Right? And I think a
Yes.
lot of
Yes.
times we don't completely break away from what's happening in the day and go, all right, baby girl, I got you. What do you want to
Yeah.
share with me? Dad's here for you. Please share. So,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
so
So
go ahead. Sorry.
no. Go. Yeah. Yeah.
No, go.
Oh no, I was saying, yeah, I remember that. I was like, oh, like I don't want to be rude. This is the first time I meet you, but I, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember it. And I had mad respect for you because you didn't rush her off. You
Thank
gave her a moment of dad time, and it was very intimate, right? She was sharing where she was at. She was at an amusement park and just talking about all that she was doing, and you were engaging with her. And I thought it was one of the most beautiful things that I'd seen in a long time, right? To see a dad breaking away from business, breaking from, building a new relationship and going, you know what, excuse me, I need to talk to my daughter. And I think we as dads need to do that more often. We need to go, excuse me, I need to take care of my family.
you. Yes.
Because
Yes.
like you said, if things aren't good at home, they're really not good everywhere else
Yes.
because it ripples across, right? And how many times do we hear people that say they're a great businessman, but they were a crappy father? I would rather be remembered for being a phenomenal father and a pretty good businessman than the other way around.
Yes. One thing is you could only give what you know. Uh, like I said, my mom was a single parent. I rarely saw my dad. Once every couple months, and my mom raised me. With my other two sisters, and I know it's hard for her. And I'm even though I don't have memories or things that were passed on how to be a father. I've gone to school for parenting and marriage counseling classes. I took classes how to be a better parent. I'm always trying to better myself, and in every aspect, no matter what it is, and just like I tell my kids, when it's time for me to go, and you guys are next to me, it won't be hard to say goodbye, but all you can do is be the best you can be to your knowledge, and give what you didn't have. um I've always wanted to not give my kids what I went through, growing up with both their parents, but I believe we've managed pretty good, even though I we haven't been together with my kids' moms, but we managed to do a great job, and I hope that that I'm teaching them that next time they're the ones to break the cycle, that when they get married and have kids, hopefully they could be like 30 something in a marriage and stuff. And that's beautiful. My grandparents, they were together for 53 years until my grandpa passed away, and he's been gone for 19 years, and my grandma still talks about him, and it's just it's amazing how the love can still be there after a long time. And one of my mentors that lives across the street, that I've known forever, I go with them, and he's been with his wife for 60, I think he said 62 or 63 years. And
Whew.
yeah, and always when I'm feeling like, wow, and he'll tell me the story. He's like, "Have I ever told you? Tell me again." It's a beautiful story. They have 5 kids together, and it's just amazing. They're still together, and like little pet names that they have. And every Saturday he goes out. He's 88, and he's right there detailing his car. And I've introduced him to bead maker and other stuff, and he's like, "Oh wow," and it's just amazing that sometimes the people that teach you how to be a father are not your blood, but they're doing something right. And always take advice from people who are doing better than you, not people who say they are and they're not. That's the bottom line. So
Yeah, no, well, I appreciate you, and there's a good lesson in that, right? I mean, there are couples and families that have been able to figure it out early, and they go a long time with the blessing of being, a family together, like me and my wife, and you and your friend and his wife, but there are also other families that, for whatever reason, whatever dynamic, they've had to figure out how to navigate what it means to have a blended family or be a single family. And it doesn't mean that you can't create the legacy and change the conversation for your kid just by being present, by being engaged, by trying to do the things that you always wished had happened with your dad. The beauty of it is you can start today.
yes,
You
yes,
can create a new legacy today. It just starts with the decision and a commitment to being there for your kids.
yes, yes. It's it's not being selfish, because sometimes when you
Mm,
separate, you forget that you're hurting the kids. It sucks that my first, my second, my third, they've endured. They've gotten the bad part of me being a father, but the last 4, they've gotten the better version of me, and I'm still making it up, to the older ones. And it's never gonna be how you know
could have been.
it could, yes, but at least we're in a place where we go have our Tuesday night at Pazuki. And before that, to make an excuse to indulge, we go play tennis. And it's just, don't be selfish. Don't be
Yeah.
selfish. When you're separating, you keep in mind that kids get traumatized for life. I'm not gonna say that I'm not. I am. I
Yeah.
remember that. My dad would supposed to have to come pick me up at 10 in the morning. And I had to be back at 5. 11 o'clock came, 12, 1, and I'm like, okay, he comes at 1, we still have 4 hours. It's 3 o'clock. Okay, he comes 2 more hours. 4 o'clock came. Okay, at least if we spent an hour together. 4:30 came. He can still come. 30 minutes, 30 minutes, and that was the worst feeling. I you know it happened too many times, and I never, sometimes we try not to disappoint our kids. It happens, but if you learn from it, make sure that it doesn't happen again. Then you'll keep being a better person and a better parent. Just it is hard when you decide to separate. Every single time. Whether it is the the woman or the man. They try to use the kids as leverage. And you know, my kids' moms always knew that they couldn't hurt me in no way. Nothing. You could take the stuff that we bought together. Physically, mentally, nothing. But my kids were the one thing that they knew how to take piece of my heart away. And it happens to men and women.
Yeah.
But hopefully, people could someday learn to understand that it's better to keep it peaceful, and it's for the kids. You do more damage, trying to have a war against your ex, or against your baby's dad or your baby's mom. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm lucky that I get along with all of them, and some when I go over, they welcome my kid's mom, and there's peace, it's cool. The other ones that are not married, I do other mechanic work, to help them save money. There's you get help out.
Yeah.
I do their detailing. I don't charge them. My kids are in the car. If I could help them, I'll help them. But just that's what I've learned. That's what I've learned. Keep the
Yeah.
peace.
And
Sometimes you just gotta hold, your tongue, and be a man. There, choose your battles. The little fights that that are meaningful, not little things that are, worthless.
yeah.
So
No, I love that, man. Well, there's so many gold in our conversation. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it because, even as a dad, that's I've had the blessing of having my kids all the time. I think a lot of times we do the shoulda, woulda, coulda instead of just going, you know what, I'm going to be the best day today. Just like you said, you made the decision with each kid. You said, you know what, I'm going to give up this. I'm going to improve here. You said, all right, I'm going to use this opportunity to become the man that I want to be so that I can be the father that my kids need
yes,
and the father that my kids deserve. And it's a process. It's a process of learning and growing. And that's really what I'm trying to accomplish here is I meet with different dads. I really appreciate you taking the time. We obviously, you and I can keep going for hours and hours. So I want to thank you for taking the
yes.
time to visit with me. So this want to remind you again, this is my friend Hiram Lopez, HTL Detailing, does a phenomenal job. He's everywhere on Facebook, everywhere on Instagram. Just go Google HTL Detailing, do a search. He's always shows up. And I just have mad respect for you. And I want to thank you for
Thank
taking
you,
time to visit with me tonight.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, obviously this will be produced and published on a Monday morning, tomorrow morning. But I also want to show you guys I got some new swag. So check out my new hat. So, yeah, so Roar Father Stand with Courage. So go check out my website, jodysedrick.com, if you want some dad swag. I got some mugs and some shirts and some hats that I'm just dropping, to help you guys tap into being a good dad. And guys, thank you so much for joining me. And, I tell you, it really is an amazing journey to talk to so many fathers with so many differing backgrounds, right? But the common thread with every man that I've interviewed is they're trying to be a better dad. They're trying to be a better man, a better husband. And that's really what it's all about, igniting the fire in us to become the best version, the best father, best husband, best dad possible. So
Best
thank you
son.
guys for dropping in, and we will
Yes.
check you same time, same bad channel, just next week. See ya.
Good night. Bye.